Do you ever look back and think, man, if I had only known this when I started, I would have saved myself so much time, so much headache, and so much money. Starting a construction business is one thing. Growing it without running yourself into the ground and ruining your personal relationships and your whole family life and so many other things like your health along the way is a whole different game. There's actually a way to do this so you don't totally screw this whole thing up, personally and professionally. So today I'm breaking down the 5 things that I wish I knew before starting my construction business, things that would have saved me so many years of struggle and heartache and sleepless nights and a whole lot of money. So if you're just starting out, trust me, you do not want to learn these things the hard way. So in this video, I'm going to break it down. Leave a like, check out jesselane.com. By the way, if you don't know who I am, my name is Jesse Lane. I have a construction company, J Lane Construction, that runs it without me at this point, and I'm just focusing on building the best possible software for contractors, and it is the best in the whole world, way beyond all these other joke competitors. It actually does everything you need it to do, and it's amazing. So check out structure.com if you want to learn more. And I've built my company to 8 figures, and I've helped a ton of other contractors avoid the biggest mistakes that hold people back from growing their construction business and finding that freedom in their life. So let's dive into the 5 things that I wish someone had told me before starting my construction business. The first point is that you can't do it all yourself. When I first started out, I had that classic lone wolf mindset, right? I thought no one can do it as well as me. Does this sound familiar? I was also pretty broke too, so I really couldn't just go hire everyone right away. And I understand that some of you are in that position as well, but I took on everything, right? I took on the sales, the estimating, the marketing, the job site management as a superintendent, communicating with clients as a project manager, building all the schedules, handling the books, making the YouTube videos, right? Editing them myself, making the thumbnails myself. Like, it was a lot, man. And you know what happened? I was constantly putting out fires. I was working insane hours and I still couldn't keep up, right? And the worst part is I was so busy working in the business to actually work on the business and grow it. I wasn't spending time in my early days actually building the business, working on it, right? There was one week I was like delivering drywall to a site or whatever, and my phone was blowing up with all the client calls, and there was subcontractors and vendors and suppliers all sending invoices, asking for money. And that's when I realized that I was the bottleneck in my own business. And fast forward some time, and I eventually put in systems and brought in the right people. So I never had to be the one, for example, paying subcontractors. And that was a huge thing to take the weight off my shoulders, to have my office manager handle that for me. That was one thing that completely changed like my whole perspective on life, because you cannot scale if you refuse to delegate. It is that simple. So the best thing I ever did was starting to hire people to handle the things that I didn't need to be doing, right? And bookkeeping and admin work and checking on my construction projects were the few first things that I delegated, let alone all the personal things that you could delegate in your life that you shouldn't be doing. You shouldn't be mowing your own lawn and stuff like that. So think about your strengths and your weaknesses as well, and identify what you can outsource first, right? Stop trying to wear every hat and build a team that could execute without you being in the middle of everything or being the bottleneck of everything, because this is how you can actually scale and have a business that runs without you. You gotta get out of the way, right? So if you really want to be in that founder role like I am, or even just be a great CEO, then start acting like it, just in a very small way. Instead of doing everything on your own, ask yourself, are you actually growing your business, or are you just surviving, right? Here is the second thing that I wish I knew, right? It's setting up processes from the start. When you're first starting out, you're in survival mode, and I completely get that. I've been there, I've done it, and you're just trying to land jobs, get paid, keep things moving. I completely get it. But if you don't have systems and processes in place, every single project's gonna feel like starting over from scratch, right? Your permit submission process, your job startup process, all the stuff that you have to do, even just as simple as project templates, right? So early on, I actually had 0 processes. I had no checklists, I had no workflows, I have no way of tracking tasks. It was all just, I'll figure it out as I go, right? But you know what that led to is miscommunication between my team and clients, and delay and mistakes, because nothing was standardized. Everything was a little bit more last minute, right? And there was a whole lot of last minute, and there was a whole lot of scrambling to get things done. So one of the biggest mistakes contractors make is thinking that systems and processes are only for big companies. They're wrong. They're not. They're for every single company. And the earlier you can implement them, then the easier it is to scale without completely losing your mind. The third thing that I really wish I knew and had a total, full, complete handle on is that pen and paper is not the way to run your business. And I get it. Some guys still swear by yellow pads of paper and stacks of invoices in their truck and piling up receipts in shoe boxes and everything like that and writing proposals by hand. But think of this. How many times have you lost an important detail or a measurement that you took on site and you just wrote it down, right? How much time do you waste digging through paperwork because your notes were all just like scattered all over the place and nothing's in a streamlined, organized, centralized place? And thank God for Structur, because it's actually something that you could get started with for free. It handles everything, all your invoicing, your proposals, your estimates, your schedules, your tasks, your messaging. You can put your SOPs in there. It's all in one place. So instead of flipping through a notepad, searching for all of the missing change order, you have everything at your fingertips. The clients can see your schedule, your team can see the schedule. Everything is all in one place. The budget for your project. Imagine logging in and just seeing where all of your leads are and where all of your projects are and which ones that you've converted from leads into projects, right? Which is the most exciting part, because that's when you win projects and it's super cool. Imagine seeing where all of your invoices are and your change orders. It's a beautiful thing. So I would say if you are a contractor and you're serious about growing your construction company, then check out www.structur.com. There's no E on Structur, and it'll radically transform your construction business. And the fourth thing is not every job is worth taking, right? And not only when I just first started, but for a lot of years, I would take every single job that came my way, right? No matter if it was a nightmare client or a job that I barely broke even and whatever, I wanted to keep my business moving, right? Because I thought I had to. I thought more jobs, more money, but that's not actually how it works. Taking low profit, high effort jobs won't help you scale. It's only what I learned the hard way, right? Some jobs actually cost you more than they make. I remember this one time I took a big project thinking it would be a huge payday, but I didn't think about the logistical nightmare of working in this specific area with limited access, right? There was a rushed timeline that forced me to pay overtime to the crew and hire more subcontractors because they didn't have the clearance to get in there, and the client kept changing the plans and adding more work, and it just kind of drug on, and we barely made any profit for months and months of stress, right? So how can you avoid this mistake? You want to ask yourself 3 questions before accepting any project. First of all, is this job actually profitable, or am I just taking it to stay busy? Because the numbers may look big, but are you actually making any real money, right? Or are you barely breaking even? You have to know the difference. Will this project help me grow, or is it just another short-term grind? Is it going to get me to my goals or the types of projects that I want to be taking in the future? It's because some jobs open the doors to opportunities, better clients, more profitable work, and others keep you stuck in the same cycle. You have to learn how to know the difference. And does this job fit into the business, the construction business that you want to build, right? If you're just chasing down every single job, then you never specialize in high-value projects that you actually want to work in. For example, taking on a kitchen remodel if you're trying to do coffee shops or commercial renovations, or vice versa, right? Maybe not taking on a bathroom remodel anymore if you want to do larger room additions, if you want to stick in the residential world, or not taking on a room addition if you're trying to do new custom home builds. You have to kind of pick your lane and work towards that. You want to grow in the right direction, right? So at the end of the day, the goal isn't to be busy, it's to be profitable, right? And have happy clients. So you want to focus on the right jobs, and scaling your business will get easier as long as you can avoid nightmare projects and nightmare clients. The 5th thing is nightmare clients are not worth it. Have you ever had a client that made you just dread picking up the phone, and you're like, man, I just really don't want to talk to this person, right? And believe me, I have ignored red flags before, and I have paid the price. The ones who haggle about price but expect a VIP service, right? The ones who micromanage your crew like they're the foreman. The ones who delay payments or suddenly find problems to avoid paying. And the worst part, these clients will fight you on every little thing, suck the life out of your team, and still be unhappy at the end, and God forbid, leave you a bad review. You don't want that, right? Remember, I once had a guy who tried to negotiate the price after the job was done. I had a contract, everything was documented, didn't matter. He wanted to argue about every single invoice, right? So here's a rule that I wish I had followed sooner. If a client gives you a bad feeling up front, you don't have to take the project, even if it would be profitable. If they're going to be a nightmare client, it might not be worth it, right? If they don't respect your time before the contract is signed, and they don't respect your value and your quality, they're not going to respect it later. If they nitpick every detail in the estimate, expect that to continue through the project, right? That's just who they are. It's not going to really change, right? If they question every decision that you make or anything that you bring up, they don't trust you, right? And that's a recipe for disaster. So listen, if you're already dealing with a nightmare client, you have two options. Number one, set clear boundaries, right? And always put change orders in writing, follow your payment terms. If there's excessive calls and texts, you want to control the communication flow. And if it's ultimately not worth it, fire them, right? You're running a business, right? You're not running a babysitting service. If a client is costing you more money than they're worth, cut your losses and move on. It's not going to be the end of the world. Obviously, do it respectfully. But there are plenty of good clients out there, ones who respect your work, they pay on time, and they need your help. So don't waste your energy on bad ones. You'll thank yourself later. So remember to leave a like on this video, leave a little comment, and I'll see you in another YouTube video popping up here in a few seconds, and we'll talk soon. See ya.